So very good evening, everyone. So it's a fresh session that we are starting. The part 2 of the training session is what we are starting today. So today's session, what we are going to do is like we're gonna learn to install OpenAlgo in the server side and what are the things a trader need to take care of it, right? So that's what we're gonna learn in this specific session. And I hope the audio and video quality is good enough to kickstart. If yes, simply type yes so that we can quickly kickstart the session. I hope you should be able to see my video also, audio also. There is a chat box down there. You can just simply type yes. Okay, great. Thank you, Sendil, Kumar, Balakrishna, Gopinath, and Madan, Priyanshu, Bhavesh, Sanjeev, Patel, and everyone. So without further delay, let's quickly kickstart. So what I'm going to do is like I'll go to Vulture, right? Go to vulture.com. From here, I'll go to my account. I already logged in, so I'm gonna recreate it. So I'm already having a server, which I'm gonna delete it. Right, so I'm gonna have an empty server is what I'm having. I'm gonna deploy a new server here. So I'll go to deploy new server. And from here, you can see like there are two different types of CPUs are there. One is shared CPU, another one is a dedicated CPU. Shared CPU is primarily for the beginners or whoever want to test their servers. New beginners, hardly one or two trades, they're gonna trade. Uh, Pricing will be very less. Typically, an 1 GB RAM is gonna cost you approximately $5 per month. $5 in the sense, $5 plus if in case if you are enabling the backups also, if in case a backup is required, right? If I disable the backup, it will be $5, right? If I disable it, generally disabling is not recommended, so I would like to keep it. Typically the cost gonna come around $6 per month. So I'm gonna configure the software, but not in some other location. I want nearest to my exchange location, so I'll go to Asia. Mumbai is what I'm gonna keep it up, right? And then I'm gonna select an 1 GB RAM. 1 GB RAM is more than enough for a beginner. If in case if you are an expert or if you want a bigger server, maybe if your capital is let's say more than 10 lakhs, then it's highly recommended to go with a dedicated server. It is slightly costlier. Minimum of 2 GB is what it is recommended, 28 per month. But for beginners, I would definitely recommend to go with a shared CPU. So today we're going to start with an 1 GB RAM. I'll go and configure the software. I'll scroll down and then I'm going to go to the Ubuntu. I'm going to select 25. 25 is the latest version, like how we have Windows 11, Windows 10. So similarly, Ubuntu is I would say, like one of the popular servers in the world. 30 to 40% of the market share is from Ubuntu, right? So I'm going to select Ubuntu 25 version is what I'm going to install. I'm going to deploy it. Now this deployment is going to take approximately, I would say like um, somewhere around 1 to 2 minutes. The deployment time is going to take. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to open up a PowerShell. I'm going to open up a Windows PowerShell. Now, using the Windows PowerShell, we're going to log into into the Linux server, right? You can also use VS Code also. If in case if you're having VS Code, if you're having the terminal, in the terminal also, you can use it for login purpose. But to avoid confusion, I'm going to show you in the Windows PowerShell itself. Generally, I don't use the direct Windows PowerShell. I will prefer to use VS Code itself. But today's instance, not to confuse you, I'm going to use the Windows PowerShell, right? So the installation is still going on. Once the installation is done, we will be getting an static IP address, which will be like compatible with SEBI's compliance also, by the way. Yesterday, we talked about SEBI's compliance, if you remember. Yeah, so the IP address we got over here. I'm going to click on the cloud instance. Now you will be finding what is the data center and what is the RAM size. RAM is like 1 GB RAM, 25 GB hard disk, SSD hard disk. So I'm going to use the IP address. So I'm going to copy and then I'll go to the Windows PowerShell. I'm going to use the SSH command, SSH space username. So the username is root. So ROT @ so separated by @ I'm going to enter my IP address. So here is my IP address. I'm going to enter it. And then I'm going to type enter. So once this is done, I'm going to enter the first time it is going to ask for a fingerprint. I have to say type yes. Second time onwards, it's not going to ask you for any fingerprint. So once you enter the fingerprint as yes, the next thing what you need to enter is like your server password. So here I'm having the server password. I'm not going to reveal it, but I'm going to copy it and then I'll paste it over here. Then I'm going to type enter, right? So once it is done, now we are into the server. I'm going to type free hyphen m to check the RAM memory. So free hyphen m, you can easily check the RAM memory over here. You can see that there are two types of memories here. One is regular memory and another one is the swap memory. So regular memory is your actual physical RAM memory, right? So 1 GB of RAM memory is what we are having. So total everything put together, you will be getting in 1 GB of RAM memory is what you will be having over here. Along with that, there is a swap memory. So swap memory is a virtual RAM. We can call it like a virtual RAM, something similar to a virtual RAM. So which means the total RAM size is like 3 GB of RAM over here, approximately, right? So 3 GB of RAM. But physically, I'm having only 1 GB RAM. But this swap memory sits in the hard disk, right? So you can ask ChatGPT what is swap memory, what is regular memory. You can go and check it out. But for if you are going to use OpenAlgo, a minimum of total combined memory should be at least 2 GB. So this is what I learned in today from Mr. Luna. So I don't know whether what is his real name, but I'm sure he's a professor from a professor or a PhD. Uh, or he is teaching to PhDs. I don't know his real name, right? But he explained me like you should enable a the swap memory so that you can enable, I mean, you can run OpenAlgo even in an half a GB RAM, right? So I had to try it out and really it worked. And thanks to him. But I don't know whether Luna is watching or not. But Luna, if you're watching, like a big thanks to you. Right, so yeah, in our case it is there, but if in case you don't have a swap memory, generally some data center I had tried today, I also have to try with DigitalOcean as well, where the swap memory by default it was 0. So if the swap memory is 0, you may have to increase your swap memory. So how I can increase if I don't know any commands? Basically, I don't know any commands in Linux much. So every time I always go and ask ChatGPT, I give the context. So I'm going to say like, I want to increase the swap memory to, let's say, like 2 GB extra, 2 GB more. I already having 2 GB of swap memory, but I want 2 GB more. That's what I'm asking over here. I'm just giving the context, right? This is what we call as a context engineering. You give only the context. It sees the ChatGPT sees what you want to, what information that you are seeing. ChatGPT also sees the same thing and it gives the relevant suggestions. So now it is suggesting that you have to run the so and so command. I'm gonna run the so and so command over here. I'm going to paste it and then I'm going to type enter. Now you can see that the swap memory has been shifted to 4 GB from 2 GB. Additional 2 more GB had been added extra. Now we are having a 5 GB RAM over here. Right? It's not physically a 5 GB RAM. Physically, it is like only 1 GB RAM only. And additional 4 more swap memory is what we are having over here. And there is also additional command it will be giving you. This is like for if you want to make it permanent across reboot. Sometimes if you reboot, right, the swap memory will go away. So you add this extra command also. Even after your reboot, it is, I think I have to use some FS tab. Earlier it had given the command, but now, so here is the command over here, FS tab. So if I add this, it will be adding it to the FS tab over here, right? Yeah, so now even after reboot, now this command will ensure that your swap memory is not going to change. As I said, for OpenAlgo, minimum total combined memory of 2 GB RAM is what it is required. It doesn't matter whether you're having a half a GB RAM or 1 GB RAM or 2 GB RAM, right? Or even 4 GB RAM. Minimum 2 GB RAM, swap plus free memory is what it is required. That is one thing. Now, once you're done with that, you can always go to docs.openalgo.in. So here you will be finding the getting started section. Under there, you can find Ubuntu no custom domain. So this is where we're going to go and configure an custom configuration. We're going to install it in our IP address. So I have to get the API key and API secret key. So here is what I had created. So here is what I created, the API key and API secret key, which I'm going to use it. And then followed by that, what I'm going to do here is I'll go and open up the editor. So I'll copy this nano command. Nano will open up a nano editor, right? So inside the nano editor, I'm going to copy this shell script command. So I'll paste the shell script command. I'm going to save it. So Control X, notice that there is a Control X command is there. Control X will exit from this. It's asking me whether I have to save it or not. I'm going to type Y. And then it is also asking me whether you want to save file whether it is you want to write the file name to install.sh or not. I'm going to type yes. So the install.sh file, the shell script file. Shell script is like a kind of an exe file in Windows. In Windows, we have exe file. Here we have an shell script file. Maybe in Windows, we can call it as a batch file, right? So it's going to run certain set of commands. Instead of giving one by one command, now a lot of commands are inside. Instead of giving one by one command, right? So we're going to run all the commands in a sequence. That's what we're going to do over here, right? So I'm going to type ls. Ls will tell you how it will list the number of files in that particular directory. So install.sh is there. So followed by that, I'm going to install the shell script. Directly, it will not allow you to execute. So you have to give a permission. So chmod to give the permission over here. Then type enter. So now permission is enabled to run the script. So I'm going to run the script over here. So this will allow me to execute the script. So sudo install.sh, that should be running the script. So for the first time, it's going to ask me, do you want to change the time zone to IST or not? Yes, we have to change it to IST because sometimes, right, if your timestamp is not saved, sometimes the logs might be in a GMT format or some other time zone format. So I'm going to say yes. It's asking me a broker name. I'm going to type Angel here. And then it's going to ask me the broker API key and API secret. So I'll go to the Angel. And then I'm going to copy the one, enter. And then API secret. Again, I'm going to copy and then I'm going to paste it over here. So this will be installing it in a plain vanilla server. I'll also show you how to connect with a custom domain also. Maybe I'll show with Zerodha, right? So this is like without custom domain we are installing over here. I don't have any domain, so I'm just having only Linux server. I'm okay with that. For those people, they can go with this. So the complete installation procedure is going to take somewhere around 3 to 4 minutes. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do anything. Basically, I'm just going to watch it, but it's slightly painful to watch. Most of the Linux servers, right, it doesn't comes with any user interface. Like Windows, it doesn't has any interface. You have to work only with command line only. Maybe if you are very much familiar with the Windows, you're going to hate Linux for the first time. But after that, you will start liking it. Anyways, I'm going to type OK. The first time when I started using Linux is like around 2011 when I came to Bangalore. I came to Bangalore to work in Ericsson. Ericsson, I was working as an IP specialist. So they completely migrated all the employees from Windows to Linux. So that's the first time I started getting my hands on with Linux itself. Right, almost 4.5 years I have to live with Linux, and that is where I had learned the basics of Linux itself. And that is where I stopped using Excel. Instead, we have to use this open source stuff. It's a lot of open source stuff. That's the first time I am getting hands on with the open source. In 2014, I'm coming full time into the markets, right? So since then, it's been more than a decade now. Nothing changed. All right. So what it does is like it's going to install a lot more things. In the meantime, let it install. So in the meantime, we'll try to understand what this script is going to do, right? So let's copy the script and then go to ChatGPT. I'll go to ChatGPT here. I'm going to ask the question, what are the uh, components installed provide at a higher level? So I'll give the shell script. It's going to explain me what are the things which are happening. So it is updating the system packages, it is installing a lot of utilities, it is installing Python, Git, UFW. UFW is a firewall, fail to ban, again to protect somebody from abusing your server, brute force attacks, and Snapd. Snapd again for installing UV. Yesterday we seen UV, right? So something like that for you installing UV, we need Snapd. So and then it installs UV, it is installing. It creates a virtual environment and then it installs all the Python library packages, 117, 113 or 117 libraries are there. And then finally it downloads the OpenAlgo from GitHub and then it configures the .env environment. And finally it runs in a Gunicon server in the background. So this will be running 24/7. No matter what, even if the server, if I'm going to close it, it will be running 24/7, right? And you will be having, it will be also configuring the security permissions, some broker specific configurations, and logging and monitoring it's going to configure. So this is what it is going to do over here, right? So now the server is ready. When you see that installation is complete, you can access in this URL. You can copy this URL and then you can go to your browser and then you can put it in the domain name. Now you can see that anybody can try it out. If you try this domain, try this IP address, everybody should be able to log in. Like, and then I'm going to log in. For the first time, you have to ensure that you are logging in quickly because it is your own server. You are the first one who have to log in. No other logins are allowed, right? So I'm going to log in for the first time and I'm going to log in. Let me enter into my credentials over here. So I have to enter my Angel and I'll log into my client ID. I'll enter my PIN and I'm going to enter the TOTP as well. So let's say TOTP. So the TOTP is, and remember on a daily basis, one have to do a login because even if you're not logging in by 3 o'clock, if any login has been done, it will be automatically logged out. So that's a SEBI compliance, right? So one have to log in on a daily basis, no matter what. So it logs in and automatically can see that it's also downloaded all the symbols as well. Technically, if you're going to have only 1 GB RAM, with no swap space, this download will not happen because some heavy bulk activity is happening around that time. So this issue has been now sorted out. So now even within 1 GB RAM, I mean within $6, or even if you are having let's say like 4 GB RAM also, I mean half a GB RAM also is more than enough. Half a GB RAM somewhere around $3 to $4 it will come up, right? So $3 plus $1 backup, $4 it will be, eventually it will come around $4. I would say like 1 GB RAM is more than sufficient in that case, rather going for an half a GB RAM. Half a GB RAM, I myself will not recommend, even though technically possible. I had done the installation with the half a GB RAM also, right? So now I'm going to show you how to send an order. So here I'll go and get the API key. So here is my API key, right? Here is my API key. I'm just going to copy that. I'll go to VS Code. If you remember VS Code, yesterday we had done the strategy part. So here is where my API key is. I'm going to replace my API key over here. And the host is not going to be my local IP. The host is going to be my, this is my host ID, right? At least yesterday it was running in port 5000. Now we don't have any port 5000. It is running in port 80. So you can simply give http:// itself. So this is where your OpenAlgo is running right now, right? No ports, nothing. And execute it. So that should be running fine. And followed by that, I'll close the terminal here. I'm going to execute an NHPC. Let's say 100 shares is what I'm going to execute. You see that the order has been getting placed. I am running in Bangalore, but my data center is in Mumbai. So from my machine, from Bangalore, it is going to Mumbai, and Mumbai server, it is getting executed, which I am able to access it in my Mumbai server. So probably the NHPC. Here is the NHPC, 100 shares. Right? Maybe I'll show you side by side how much time it will be taking. Since we are in a shared server, right, it is slightly delayed. Maybe you would have noticed that. I'll do one thing. I'll put this on the left hand side, and VS Code, I'm going to put it on the right hand side. Right. So now I'll try to show you the execution. So I'm just trying to execute it. 0.8 second is what it is taking, roughly around. So from Bangalore, it is going to the server. So some the server it is reaching, and then it is giving me the confirmation back, right? So it is getting executed. It's slightly delayed because we are using a shared CPU. So that's what I want to show you here. Maybe if I would have taken a 2 GB RAM or a 4 GB RAM, probably this will be, the numbers would be like 200, 0.2 seconds. That's the latency that you are gonna get. So that's why I said like shared CPU is only for beginners, right? And now you can fetch all the data. Let's say you can even send a large quantity of data also. Let's say I'm going to send a large quantity of data. See that instantly it is getting fired. Same one, within 1 second, all the 10 orders, I think almost 10 orders would have got fired over here. So close to close. I'll be able to fetch the historical data also. Here I'm fetching the historical data, right? So from where I'm fetching from my Mumbai data center, right? So what is actually happening is what I'm going to explain with the diagram here. So I'm going to go to draw.marketcalls.in. So what is happening here is I am in Bangalore and my data center is in Mumbai. Most likely brokers data center also likely to be in Mumbai, right? And then our exchange will be here, like NSE, BSE, and MCX. Let's say this is going to be my Bangalore machine. Bangalore, where my strategy is going to run. My strategy is running in Bangalore. Should I have to run my strategy only in my local PC if you ask me? Absolutely no. You can run your strategy anywhere. You can run inside the server also. So this is my Mumbai server. Mumbai server. We hosted in Vulture. Right? A lot of vendors are there. Vulture is there. Linode is there. OVH is there. And DigitalOcean is there. But not everybody provides in Mumbai. So you have to check whether Mumbai server, whoever is providing, you have to go and stick with them. Right? And let's say I'll try to from my Bangalore server, it is going to Mumbai server. So from Mumbai server, the order is reaching the broker server. Obviously, broker server also hosted in Mumbai itself. Mostly in NetMagic. NetMagic is where the almost every broker hosted their data center inside NetMagic. Maybe some brokers might differ. Some brokers are saying that they are using AWS, but the AWS is only for their front end, for their mobile application, or but most of their OMS, RMS, everything will be the OMS and RMS will be mostly managed by NetMagic itself, right? And from here, you will be getting connectivity to the NSE and BSE and also with the MCX, right? Now, the question is which address broker will see, whether the broker will be seeing my Bangalore address or my Mumbai server address. Let's say my Mumbai server address is like 65, 65.23.45. Let's say 56. This is my Mumbai address. Maybe my Bangalore also might be having some local IP. I mean, some internet IP. Maybe let's say like 42.112.34.56. So my signal is coming from here in Python. It could be Python, it could be AMI broker, it could be anything, right? So from here, the signal is coming to my Mumbai server. So from my Mumbai server, the order is going through the broker server. So broker sees only the Mumbai server only because from here, I'm just calling the API. I'm calling only the OpenAlgo API only. OpenAlgo API. When I'm receiving, Mumbai server knows that I'm receiving from this IP address. But broker sees only the order will be sent directly to the broker API. To the broker API. So brokers always sees my IP as like 65 dot. So broker sees 65.23.45.56. This is what broker is going to see over here. So which means technically you can run your strategy anywhere, right? If you want, you can run your strategy over here also. Inside your same server itself also, you can run the strategy, which is what recommended. But still, some people, they want to control their AMI broker. So maybe MetaTrader, they want to run in their place. They want to host it in a Mumbai server or very close to Mumbai, and they want to send it to your broker API. So both are possible, right? So since it is a Linux application, if it's a Python based strategy, it's recommended that you run your strategy inside your Mumbai server itself. However, you can keep your strategy, you can run in your Bangalore data center. I mean, Bangalore or anywhere in the planet, you can still run your strategy. Doesn't matter. All you have to do is like you have to take the API key of OpenAlgo, and you also have to set the host IP, and then you can place your orders over here. Okay, this is one thing. Now, let me show you how you can connect with some sort of custom domains. Let's say I want to have my own domain. Let's say Python dot some domain I'm having. So in that domain, I want to run OpenAlgo. In that case, how to do? I'm going to use a different broker over here. I'm going to use a broker like Zerodha is what I'm going to use. So here is Kite Connect API. I'm going to get API key. I'm already had created one, right? And let's say my domain name is, this is not the domain I'm going to run, HTTPS. So here we have to enable HTTPS ://. Let's say my domain is going to be like python.openalgo.in. Openalgo.in. This is the domain I'm going to run my OpenAlgo, right? So here I'm going to enter my app name. I'm going to enter my redirect URL. And the redirect URL is something like primarily we use it for authentication purpose, no other purpose. Whenever from OpenAlgo, I am going to sign in into OpenAlgo, and then I'm going to click on the Zerodha sign in button. It's going to go to the Zerodha website. From the Zerodha website, I will be entering my login ID, password, TOTP, everything I'll be writing there. And once I authenticated, the authentication key I will be getting through the redirect URL. So the website will be redirecting back to this URL, and then the authentication key will be stored in my database, and then you will be able to allow to log into the OpenAlgo, right? So the redirection URL is very, very much required. Some brokers like Angel, they don't use at all. Angel, done. Many brokers like Grow, they don't use, even right now we are working with IND Money. Even with IND Money also, they don't provide any redirect URL. But many brokers like Zerodha, Shunya, Flat Trade, Trade Genie, and First Talk. So a lot of brokers, they use the redirect URL concept. So this is my custom domain, right? Let's say my domain is going to be in Cloudflare. Right now I am having it in my Cloudflare, and I want to configure it. I'll save this, right? Once I save it, I'll be getting an API key and API secret. I'm going to keep it handy. So now I'm going to run it in the same server itself. Maybe I'll open a new tab, because sometimes, right, when I leave it for some time, it will get hanged. I mean, it will automatically make me to log out, even if it's going to idle for some time. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up. I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to use the same server itself. So I'll go to Vultr, copy the IP address, SSH root @ I'm going to paste the value here. It's going to ask me for a password. It's taking too much of time. Maybe I'll do one thing. I'll try to take an high-end version this time. So I'll go with an compute. This time we'll open up and some 4 GB RAM is what I'm going to take it up. I'm going to take a dedicated GPU. I'll go to Asia. I'll go to Mumbai. I'll scroll down and then I'll move it to something like 4 GB RAM. So here is my 4 GB RAM, which is going to cost me approximately around 48 per month, right? So it's up to you which server that you want, whether you are a lightweight trader or a heavyweight trader. Depends upon that, you have to go and configure your own servers, right? I'm going to configure 48 GB RAM, ensure that it is Mumbai, Asia, configure it, right? So followed by that, I have to select the Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is what primarily everyone is going to use. If you want Windows also, we can configure it in Windows also, but that is for some other day. Right now for Python, it's highly recommended that you always go with Ubuntu only, right? So I'm going to select Ubuntu and then I'm going to deploy it. Procedure is more or less same, but there will be a mild difference. You can find it out. So this is going to configure the server IP over here. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'll go to Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is more of an uh, secure layer, which will be providing so that the hackers cannot see your machine. Maybe only brokers can see it, but hackers cannot see your machine. So it gives you a lot of protection from your server getting randomly getting hacked. So my server marketcalls.in sometime back, it got hacked multiple times. So 3 to 4 times it got hacked. So from 2011 to probably 2018, I believe. After 2018, 2019, we started getting Cloudflare. Now almost every website uses Cloudflare. And after that, right, I haven't got any, not much of an hacking attempt. Random hacking attempts doesn't happen. Randomly, bot will look for loopholes and then they will be looking for vulnerability. So Cloudflare will give you a protection and it's free to use only, right? So many websites, if you're having a website, you should consider using Cloudflare. Let me log in. So once you logged into the thing, so you have to go and configure the domain. So of course, I'll go to openalgo.in. Now inside openalgo.in, I'll go to the DNS, right? So in this DNS, I'm going to add a record. The record I'm going to add is like, I'm going to add a record, which is for creating subdomains. You can also configure in a main domain also. So, but here I'm going to use python.openalgo.in. This is the subdomain I'm going to create. I have to point it to my IPv4 address. Right? IPv4 address is like the server IP. So here is my server IP, right? This is like 4 GB RAM IP. I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it over here and I'm going to save this. So here what we are doing is like Cloudflare, I'm mapping it to my server. So I had mapped it. So now once this mapping is done, right, next thing is like go and configure the server. So get in the cloud instance. Maybe this time I'll show you inside VS Code, right? We have VS Code, right? I'll go to new terminal. It's also a PowerShell terminal. You see that PS, that means it is PowerShell. And I'll first log into the server. So SSH root @ I'm going to paste the URL, I mean, paste the server IP, and then I'm going to type yes. First time you have to enter. Password, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste the password. You don't see the password uh, in Linux. That's how it works. I'm going to type enter. So we logged into the server. Now it's time to install OpenAlgo. Hardly the installation will be taking like anywhere around 1 to 2 minutes. So I'll go to the documentation again. I have to go to documentation. Under documentation, you'll be finding this Ubuntu server installation. At least 2 GB RAM is required, but even half a GB RAM also you can configure, as I said, with the swap. But more than 2 GB, you don't need to configure anything. You don't need to worry about any swap space, right? So we entered into the Cloudflare, we configured it. We entered into the DNS, that also we had configured it. So we created a subdomain name. And then we also prepare this domain name also, like say, https colon python.openalgo.in zerodha callback, which we entered in our Kite developer portal. So we entered already. We also saved it. We got the API key and API secret key as well, right? So now it's time to install OpenAlgo. So you have to download the shell script. This will be downloading from here and it will be providing the executable permission. I'm going to copy. I'll paste it over here, then type enter. So that downloads the installation file, right? Install.sh has been installed. And now I'm going to run the installation script. Same procedure, everything remains same. It's going to ask for whether you want to type yes or no. I'm going to type yes. So, and it's going to ask me for my domain name. Ensure that you're giving the value correctly. Python.openalgo.in, right? That's a domain name. And is asking me for a valid broker. So broker name is Zerodha. And then it's going to ask me for an API key. So I'll go to the broker portal, copy the API key here. And then it's going to ask me for an API secret. I'll copy the API secret as well. And then I'm going to paste it out. So here is my API secret. So don't worry, it's a test machine. So test account ID only. So I don't bother. And even if you're gonna get the AP key and AP secret key also, unless somebody is getting the authentication key, it is very difficult to place order. Somebody else cannot, just like that, they cannot place order in my account. So it uses OAuth kind of stuff. So it's still secure, even if somebody is gonna get my AP key and AP secret key. So anyways, I'll be refreshing the API keys by end of the day. So this installation process is the same time what it happened in our previous uh, non-custom domain, how much time it had taken. Same time is what is going to consume over here. Roughly, I would say like 3 minutes, everything will be done. Now, after that, sometimes it might be asking for a configuring open SSH server. You just type OK, nothing much. I mean, you just simply have to press enter. So here also it's going to do the same thing. Same procedure is going to get installed. So the installation procedure via shell script, it reduces the time. Otherwise, if you manually go and configure, typically it will be, even if you're an expert player, it will be taking anywhere around 30 to 45 minutes. If you're a beginner, then probably it could be taking like 1 to 1.5 hours to figure out what is what, configuring it everything manually. But here, one shell script, it simplifies everything, simplifies the complete installation of OpenAlgo. So it is downloading all the essentials, creating the UV virtual environment, downloading Snap. It is installing UV. UV is from Astral, right? So UV is like a kind of a packet installer. It does a lot more things. UV is something which is recently getting viral in Python. So maybe if you are a Python trader, then you should definitely explore UV. Earlier, we used to use the traditional pip install and traditional virtual environment method. But once we started using UV, we completely shifted to UV. And you can see that UV installation, it's almost 119 packages it is installing in a matter of like what? So within 2 milliseconds. So probably at least 3 seconds to 4 seconds would have been taken to install it. It also installs Gunicon. It also installs Eventlet. Eventlet is for sending real-time information. And it's getting the SSL certificate also. You will be getting a free SSL certificate from Let's Encrypt. And now the complete installation is ready. And if you go and check this URL, this is the URL, HTTPS. Here, HTTPS is enabled. So probably python.openalgo.in. So your OpenAlgo is ready. And this is like your own domain. It's like your own Tratron, or it is like your own uh, private streak. You can say like that. And I'm going to log in, right? And I'm going to log in. So once this is done, I'll enter into using my credentials. I'm going to enter. I'm going to sign in. I'll connect my account. So it's going to ask me for my password. Just give me a sec. Our team will be keep on changing the passwords. So let me check what is the password is. Okay. Yeah, I got it. This should be the one. It's asking for a TOTP. So TOTP. Now, once I press the OK, right? Now from the kite.0.com, it will be reaching to my OpenAlgo. It will be redirecting to my OpenAlgo through this URL. Through this URL, right? So let me enter for Zerodha. All right. So now it's logged in. You can see that instantly it redirected back to my openalgo.in. So the entire redirection is happening within very faster. It's happening over here. It takes up the authentication token and then it redirects back to my application over here, right? So one problem is like we cannot transmit any order, direct order. I don't think broker will allow because the after market hours they will not allow. But one thing we can try enabling analyzer mode. So from analyzer mode, I'll get the API key. So here is my URL, right? So now my URL is going to be https://python.openalgo.in. So if I want to transmit the order, same order, I have to set my IP address, which is https://python.openalgo.in, no trailing slash, right? So it will be something like this. And I have to get my API key as well. My API key from my server, I have to take it. And then I'm going to paste it over here. And I'll try to execute now. So that got executed, and then I'm gonna send a place order over here. You can see that the place order has been executed. Probably it's getting executed over here. Means I'm able to communicate with my server. I'm able to place order even from my Bangalore also, right? So from Bangalore, again, I'm sending orders to Mumbai, and from Mumbai, I'm able to place orders to the broker. Of course, here we're not touching the broker here because we are in analyzer mode. So the response is some coming from the kind of a mock response is what coming from the OpenAlgo itself, right? Of course, Deepesh, Nitin, and Bhavesh is having a question. Yes, you can go and ask your question. You can unmute and you can speak back.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
whenever I backtest any YouTube's given strategy, right, which says that it is a great strategy, and I backtest it over Backtrader or VectorBT, the results are not performant. But if I want to do that same thing in OpenAlgo for all the NSE stocks, and then see
See,
whether that
by
strategy,
default, OpenAlgo doesn't provide any internal backtester, right? So we have been building one. It's called Open Engine, but that is very long, very far away. Milestones are very far away. But right now, we are solving only the execution process only. Execution, and we are building trade management tools, risk management tools. Probably that's our near-term goal. Long-term goal is definitely to build a full-stack backtesting engine, options backtesting engine, or equity backtesting engine, portfolio backtesting engine. So all those things are in pipeline. Rotational backtesting engines.
so is it good, sir, that I don't reject a strategy before testing it on all NSE stocks and see where it actually works or not works? Because they are recommended as like great strategies, but whenever I backtest it, the result is totally opposite.
You're talking about grid strategy, right?
Like the scalping strategy between nine.
Maybe they would have showed that strategy in a different markets. Maybe they would have showed for crypto markets or US markets, and you might be trying it in Indian markets.
Right.
Still, they are claiming that that could be a false claim mostly.
Okay.
If it's a different market, the same strategy, let's say I'm building a strategy in Indian market, the same strategy not necessarily it has to work in US market because Indian market, let's say Indian market will be operating only from 9:15 to 3:30. Their market, let's say ES mini will be 24 bar 5. Forex market will be again 24 bar 5. So if I gonna go and apply the same strategy, the volatility will be different. Everything is gonna be different over here. The time frame is gonna be different. So in Indian market, at least within that 7 hours of time, the market has to show a trend at least, right? Whereas when it comes to US market, they have like 24 bars 5. So generally, regular market there will be some volatility, but overnight markets it may not work at all.
Yes, sir. But I have just taken help of ChatGPT to create strategies, simple strategies like EMA, RSI,
Mm.
to create for NSE stocks, and that too is not giving like very good results in backtesting. So, where to start from a new trader perspective for building a strategy and backtest results are good.
See, first of all, if at all EMA and RSI is going to give good results, everybody would have made millionaire now, and that is not happening yet, right? So still markets are difficult to solve. First, one thing we need to understand why we are going to automate it, right? So there are two ways why people come for automation, practically speaking, right? Uh, let's say I already traded my system, I have emotions, but I know system is going to work. I had tested it manually, or I had visually seen this multiple times. Now I cannot control my emotions, so people go for automation. Number two, people come for automation because they had some edge. So they had done this already manually. and now they know that there has been a serious edges there, but still they want to scale it up, right? So they want to scale it up across instruments or across different markets they want to implement. As a single person, they cannot keep on monitoring everything, so they want to run multiple strategies. They want to explore multiple edges in the markets. So in that case also, people who want to exploit an edge in the markets, if there is an edge, if there is some serious edges there. Recently, you would have seen that Jane Street had exploited a simple edge,
Yeah.
right? So likewise, what is the edge that we are talking about there? If I am talking about RSI and EMA, a simple RSI and simple EMA, will there be an edge? If at all, if it is there in the market, definitely by now it would have been done and dusted, right?
Yeah, but sir, can't AI help there to create an edge, or you recommend like
See,
starting
AI
before?
cannot help you in exploring the edge unless you give the context. If you are a specialist in trading, you have to tell, hey, these are the ways I'm figuring out. Can you check is there any edge with this kind of methods or not? You have to go and explain to the AI, and then AI will make things for you better and faster, right? So it is not going to explore edge on behalf of you because it is not a thinking machine. It doesn't think. It might looks like it is thinking, right? So it mimics thinking, but it's not. End of the day, it was doing a token predictions only. It's not doing any thinking at all.
So, sir, do you recommend to do manual trading and struggle with by getting this edge first before the automation stuff?
See, I'm not saying like you have to struggle only to struggle and then only you have to get the trading edge. What I am saying is like you have to figure out the edge. So maybe it may not be EMA and RSA. Maybe it could be some other technical indicator. I'm saying that maybe it could be from VWAP or it could be some other techniques, right?
Yeah.
So maybe don't go with the very basic textbook style indicators. Textbook style indicators, I don't think they'll have some any serious edge. If at all any textbook style indicators are there, definitely would have been exploited by now,
Yeah. And
right?
sir, this vulture thing, is it better than like AWS OCI providers which
No, AWS also they have it in Mumbai. The only thing is like AWS by default they don't provide static IP. You have to attach it. That comes with an extra cost, and AWS also slightly costlier.
Okay.
AWS is a very good system, right? So I would definitely recommend AWS, but from a costing point of view, AWS is pricey, very pricey.
Yeah. And so this can install.sh script, can it be modified to do a git pull and refresh on everyday basis? Basically, whenever you push any new changes in the GitHub.
Yes, that's a good question you had asked. I'm glad that you had asked. Like, let's say if I am pushing something, any new code that I'm pushing, like let's say I'll go to OpenAlgo. Here is my local OpenAlgo, right? Now this OpenAlgo I'm running in my VS Code itself. So if I want to update, I'll be doing a git pull is what I had to do to update it. Any new upgrades.
Yeah.
So let me tell you one thing. We'll be keep on upgrading something. We'll be keep on fixing some bugs for some other broker. But if you feel like your system is always working fine, right? It's highly recommended not to update during live market hours. Maybe you try it out after market hours. If it is working fine, and as long as you want the new feature, or you're facing some issues that your issue got fixed, only then you should update it. Otherwise, a running system you should not upgrade because sometimes, let's say, it's highly recommended you better don't update during live market hours, right?
Sure, sir. Thanks a
Sometimes
lot.
if let's say if any issue that you're going to face, again you will be depend upon us. So as long as things are working fine, you run with that. You test it out in some other machine and then you update it, right? Let's say you keep one as a production you're not going to disturb at all. Production you will disturb only if you are testing it parallelly. You test some other one more folder, you open up, you test there, everything is working fine, orders are working fine, you do some basic testing, or you do some basic API testing, everything is working fine, only then you should upgrade. But definitely don't upgrade during live market hours, or when the market is about to open, don't do that, right?
Any plans to have that update thing in the install.sh script, sir?
Now,
Uh,
what we are trying to do is like we are trying to simplify the installation process. Once you log in, maybe we'll be having an update button. Like that is how in WordPress they'll be having something similar is what I'm planning. Like for example, this is my portal. Let's say marketcalls.in. So here I'll be having probably if I go to, let's say, dashboard. From here, let's say I'll go to update. So here, if I want to upgrade here, I can just it's just kind of a one click button is what you can see over here. Like one click, you can just select and then you can upgrade the plugins.
Mm-hmm.
Right, even entire WordPress, if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade it. Like so, it just let's say I'm just going to upgrade this particular one. Uh, let's say something like some table press. I'm going to upgrade. Okay, I'll just update the plugin and the one click button. It is going to update that particular package. So something similar is what I am also planning. In fact, OpenAlgo itself, one of the basic inspiration is itself from WordPress. So if you understand WordPress, Zerodha's blog is WordPress. Right? I've been using WordPress since 2010 onwards. Like almost last 15 years, I've been using WordPress. You don't need to write any codes to build a website. So something similar is what we inspired from WordPress, so that you can host your instead of you hosting your own website, you'll be hosting your own algo trading environment. Right, so that's the inspiration that we taken it from WordPress. So since I've been using WordPress for a quite long time, WordPress is one of my very good source of inspiration. So that's what OpenAlgo is all about.
Sure, sir.
So
One more.
you don't upgrade, but we are having mechanism. We will be building one, but not immediately. That's not our priority right now. People have to do this manual update for some time, maybe another 6 months are down the lane. But somewhere in the meantime, we'll figure out how to do this manual update to automatic update. We'll be figuring out. So going forward, we will be having such one-click button, so you'll be able to upgrade it.
Sure, sir. So one more question. You recommended Vector BT yesterday, yesterday's session, but
Yes.
when I asked about that various tools, the ChatGPT was also saying about Backtrader being more granular and somewhat more accurate than Vector BT. What are your views on that, sir?
See, backtrader is a bit of slow. I would say that backtrader, yes, reliable, but it is slow. Vector BT is like something which is growing faster, and it is also reliable. It's not like so maybe how you can judge is like if you go to GitHub stars, right? So just go to GitHub backtrader. How many people had accepted it? You can able to see by looking into the stars, right? So you can see like almost 17,000 stars. If you go and see for Vector BT. So under vector BT, you'll be finding like 5.4K stars. Means it is growing. It's not like Bacteria has been done, dusted, stabilized, right? Right. Many people contributed. And vector BT is like kind of growing, but still a lot of people are showing interest. 5.4K people are showing interest, which means it's completely community driven. Even if there is any mistake is going to happen, the community is going to tell them like, boss, there is a mistake there. Can you go and fix it? So they'll be raising issues, right? So a lot of issues, they might still be having it, but a lot of issues, they also close it out as well, right? So there are, if at all there is any issues are there, they're going to figure it out and then they're going to close it out. Same thing applicable for OpenAlgo also. Even for OpenAlgo, if you go to OpenAlgo, right? So we'll be having some are, not everything is an issue here. Some of them are enhancements, some of them are issues. Some issues are still open, but we also side by side we also close most of the issues as well, right? So whenever we find time, we'll try to ensure that we are closing those issues on a timely basis.
Sure, sir. One last quick question, sir. For starters, I mean, would you recommend manual trading or just starting from algo trading?
So without finding an edge, don't go for automation. There's no point of doing it. It's like you're trying random luck is what you're trying to do.
Sure, sure. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah. So you should be seeing something visible, and you should at least you should get the feel that this strategy I should automate it. Unless you're not getting the feel, you should not automate at all.
Yeah, sir, to get that feel, I use backtesting, and that is
Yeah.
not giving me that
The
feel.
backtesting alone is not enough. Like there are other things like backtesting, optimization, walk forwarding, walk forward testing.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Sure. Yes, Deepesh, you are having a question. Deepesh or Bhavesh and
Are you
Nitin?
getting my voice?
Yes, yes. Tell me, Deepesh.
Sir, my question is that if I am installing OpenAlgo,
Yeah.
multiple instances in this Ubuntu server,
Yes.
so it will be clears the IP addresses. So means we are giving the particular 5000 port to
Yes.
one
See,
and
in
another.
servers, so it will be using, it will not be using 5000 port. If you want, you can configure it by default. When you run this installation script, it will not be running in 5000 port.
Okay, okay. We are
So
using G Unicorn,
we are
right? Then
using Unicorn and
yeah,
Nginx. It will be
correct,
hosted in
correct.
either 80 if
Yeah,
you are not using any custom domain, or 443, which is like HTTPS.
Okay.
So that is where it will be running.
Yeah. I just tried it out yesterday. It's working fine. That
Okay.
was my question only. That is okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes, Nitin, you are having a question. So anybody want to ask questions, they can raise their hands. There is a hand button option is there. All right, so let me proceed. So that's we are getting into the final thing, like building an simple strategy, right? So option strategy is what we're gonna build. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you something very interesting. So let's say I'll go to this is what we call as a context-based trading. I mean context engineering. Instead of late there has been an uh, maybe you would have heard about prompt engineering. Of late, there has been something called context engineering has been getting very viral in the internet. So I also have to write about it as well. So if in case you have time, you can also go back and read over here as well. So context engineering, what exactly it is. So maybe I give you a little glimpse about it. So context engineering is from the Toby Lutke. So he's the CEO of Shopify. So very recently he came up with a context called context engineering. So what, in a simple terms, if I want to explain, I'll say like some people say like, hey, give me a profitable strategy for the stock market. This is what we will be going and asking in ChatGPT. Let's say I'm also going to go and ask in the ChatGPT. What eventually happens is like it's going to confidently going to give you some strategy. It's not going to deny like maybe it may give some disclaimer, but it says like practically you cannot find an profitable strategy. It says like some it is basically going to throw some EMA and RSI or some basic strategy is what is going to go through, and then it's going to give some rules. So this is what you're going to get over here. Now the context engineering is slightly different. You give the context. You give a simple example over here. This is not necessarily it has to explore an edge, but just to give a context. I trade Indian markets using technical indicators. So it understands that you are a trader who uses technical indicators, right? The LLM understands that and provide me a simple moving average crossover strategy. So you are specifically saying what strategy that you want. Now I'm not saying like you should give only simple moving average strategy. I'm saying like you have to clearly define what is your strategy, what is your entry rule, what is your exit rule. You have to specifically you have to include it. And if possible, you also have to say like what symbol that you're going to trade. Are you going to trade a single symbol or a portfolio of symbols, right? So now AI knows exactly it'll be getting the complete dots and it'll try to connect the dots. So in a prompt engineering, we'll say like tell me how the Indian market performed today. Whereas in a context engineering, we'll say like summarize today's market performance, focusing on Nifty and Bank Nifty, highlight the biggest gainers and losers. You give more context. In fact, OpenAlgo itself built using the context engineering only. So every time that we want to build a new feature, we give the context. Hey, these are the things that I want to build. So these are the features I'm expecting. These are the buttons that I'm expecting. Can you give these things, right? So once I give the complete context, then the LLMs will be able to understand and will be building for us. It's exactly the same thing. If in case you want to build, I'm going to show you a demo over here. So let's say I'll go to OpenAlgo GPT. Right. So in the OpenAlgo GPT, if you could see that if I go to edit GPT, we'll be having in the backend a lot of instructions that we'll be having over here. So these instructions knows better about OpenAlgo. Along with that, we also have some training documents as well. So a lot of training documents that we are having over here. So this is an old Python documentation. I'm going to delete the OpenAlgo Python documentation. I'm going to upload one. I'm going to upload a new one. Right. So let's say I'm going to give a new context because recently we had done a lot of new functions we had added. So I'll go to docs.openalgo.in. From here, I'll go to Python. Here is my Python. Now this entire function, I'm going to give it as a context, right? Because by default, ChatGPT doesn't know what an OpenAlgo is all about. So I have to explain. I'm going to take a printout of this. I'm going to take PDF file of this. I'll save this and I'll say like OpenAlgo Python documentation. That's what I'm going to say. OpenAlgo Python documentation. So now I'll come back to my ChatGPT and then I'll upload the file stating that, hey, this is my OpenAlgo Python documentation. Right? So it updates it. So a lot of examples I had provided over here in the backend. So it knows how to write. Now it understands the context and then it is gonna when I ask the question, it's going to give me the proper answer. Maybe sometimes it could still make a mistake, but 80 to 90% of the time, it's going to deliver what I want. So I go to the GPT now. So now I'm going to ask a question stating that, let's say I want to place order, place a straddle order in, let's say, Nifty. That's what I'm going to give. Maybe this is like, even this is also not the right context because I haven't given the expiry date. I missed the expiry date. So what I'll do, I'll say like for the expiry 17th July 25. So that's the expiry. It's like I only want to place order. I only want to place order. No stop loss and target. Nothing is required over here. So I'm just telling what exactly I want to create, right? So now it gives me the context. So it gives me like the API key. I have to set the API key over here. I have to set up the, it says like, it's going to say like OpenAlgo Python bot is running. Strategy name is Nifty Straddle manual, right? And expiry is like 17 July 25. Lot size is 75. Number of lots is like 1. So it knows that lot size is 75. All these instructions are already fed into that. I already explained for OpenAlgo what should be the lot size, what is the freeze quantity, what is the lot size of Bank Nifty, what is the lot size of FinNifty, what is the lot size of so and so symbols. So all the lot size we will keep on constantly upgrading in the backend. So now it knows that in order to get the ATM straddle, right, at the money straddle, it has to go and get the quote of Nifty. So it's getting the quotes of Nifty. Symbol is NSE and the exchange is NSE underscore index. It's also showing you what quote has been retrieved. And from the quote, it is going to get the LTP, right? The LTP is where we get the spot price. From the spot price, it's going to calculate the from the spot price is going to calculate the ATM strike price. You see the ATM strike price formula, it uses 50 over here. The 50 is nothing but the strike interval, and that strike interval I already fed into OpenAlgo for Nifty, Bank Nifty, FinNifty, for all those instruments, all those index instruments only I had fed over here. If you're going to try with stocks, then you have to feed what is your strike interval is all about. Then only it will be able to calculate the at the money strike price. And now this will work only for Nifty. Maybe the same thing you cannot use it for Bank Nifty because Bank Nifty strike interval is like 100, right? You cannot use the same thing for Bank Nifty. If it is Bank Nifty, you have to put 100 and 100 over here. So ATM calculation is very simple, but you need to know the two immediate strike price in difference in option chain, which is 50, right, for Nifty. And then it's going to build the call option and put option. So call option and put option symbol, it's going to understand, it knows what is the symbol format of OpenAlgo. Yesterday we discussed about symbol format for OpenAlgo, right? So I also fed those information also to OpenAlgo GPT. So it knows exactly how to get the context because I already fed the context. So you ask the relevant question, it's going to give you the relevant answers. This is how it is going to be. Always the human, always going to be in the loop. So you are the human expert. You have to tell ChatGPT what to do. It is not going to think something for you and it's not going to split something for you, right? If you're going to ask, it definitely is going to give something for you. Sometimes it could be useful. Most of the time it is not going to be useful. You only as an expert, you have to tell ChatGPT what exactly you want to build. What you want to build, ChatGPT will help you to solve it. Instead of you manually building like for 7 days or 8 days, ChatGPT will give you everything in 1 hour itself, right? So and then it's going to place an order and we're going to get a response. This is for call option. Again for put option, it's going to again send another order. So let's go and try this out, right? I'm going to go and try this out. For this, I'm going to run it locally here, right? So I need to run this locally. I'm going to run it in this port itself. First, let me run it locally. So uv run app.py. I'm not going to run it my server. I'm going to run it locally. First, I have to log in locally as well. Okay. Yeah, I'll morning itself logged in, so not a big deal. Go to the API key, copy the keys, and then paste the keys over here. Right, I'm going to execute it. You see that both the orders got executed. It also getting the codes as well. From the code, it is getting the LTP. From the LTP, it is framing the symbols. So here is the call option symbol and put option symbol. right? From the spot. Spot is like 428, which means 450 is the, sorry, here is 25,461 is the LTP. So 25,450 is the at the money. At the money call option and at the money put option, it is framing and it is able to send those orders as well. Now you may think like what is there in that? Now I can extend it by saying like this is working, right? So first thing is like trying to build something small, something very basic. Now once you've done this basic thing, now you can use this as a prompt and you can start building bigger things. And you can say like first you can acknowledge that yes, this is working good. Yes, this is working good. Now we can say like can you run this exactly at let's say 920. Can you run this for time being, for demo purpose? I'm going to say like 2027 IST is what I want to run, right? First thing is like you acknowledge that, you tell that the what are the code that you had seen is like it's working good. Then it understands that okay, the code is working good. Now the same code I have to use and then I have to extend. Otherwise it will try some other code, right? So now same code, it's going to extend it and then it's going to run it. It's going to run a scheduler. So first running a scheduler, we need AP scheduler, right? If you don't, it is not using AP scheduler, you can say like I want an AP scheduler. So I'm going to now I'm going to run a Python application itself. Let's say I'll create an I'll say like intraday straddle.py. I'm going to paste this Python application and I'll go to the terminal. I'll go to another terminal over here, right? CD space OpenAlgo and then CD space strategy. So here I'm going to run uv run intraday straddle.py, right? So my Python bot is running over here. Now exactly when the time is going to reach 2027, right? IST time. Hopefully I had given IST time. If it is IST time, it should transmit the orders exactly. It should sell the at the money call option and it should sell the at the money put option over here. Now remember, I haven't written not even a single line of code so far. Let's see. Is it looking into, yeah, it is using Asia Kolkata, means it is using exactly 2027. It should it should place an order. Yeah, there is an error is there. So not every time it's gonna work, but sometimes there is an error. So maybe there is an issue with the data. I'll just gonna feed the error. I'm not saying anything else. I'm saying like there is an error is there. So it's gonna work out what is the issue. Oh, API key. I missed the API key. I'm sorry. It's my mistake. I mean, it clearly spotted out that you missed the API key. Okay. Anyways, I'll get that. So here is the API key, right? Anyways, that's my mistake. Sorry, ChatGPT. So I'll save this and maybe I'm going to run it in 27 has been passed, right? So I'm going to make it like 28. And I'm going to restart the application over here. UV run. So since everything, all the applications are, we are using inside OpenAlgo itself, we can use UV itself. UV, you can use it commonly across all the symbols. Yeah, I can see that it's placing the order, right? So means without writing a single line of code, now I can, now this is working fine. Now I can extend it something even much better. And now I can say like, I want to add a per leg stop loss. I'm going to say like, I want to add, first thing is like recognize, right? So I'm going to say like, yes, this is working fine. This is working fine. Now I want to add, let's say 30% stop loss, 30% stop loss, 30% stop loss per leg. And also I want to square off my position at, let's say like I want to push square off my position at, let's say like 315. And also if there is any pending orders, right? So stop loss orders will be pending, right? So if at all any stop loss orders is pending, if any orders are pending, I want to cancel my order at let's say like 1510. I want to cancel all my pending orders, right? So now it will be upgrading your code further. So every stage you are the one who confirm that the strategy is working fine. So we build basically in order to explain the context based trading, right? So first we have to do what? You have to build something small. So we built something small. We built an ATM, simple ATM execution is what we built. Simple ATM execution. So we built a working solution. Now use that working solution, ensure that it's a working solution. So use it as a working solution. And then you build something bigger. Something bigger. So what is something bigger here? So we added scheduling. So we added scheduling to the ATM straddle. Scheduling to the ATM straddle. Now let me tell you frankly, this is how we've been building OpenAlgo. But in a very large scale. And once we done this, we go and build something even much bigger, right? So next we are exactly our end goal is not building a simple ATM execution. Our end goal is to build a complete 920 straddle, right? I'm not saying like we should build a 920 straddle. Of course, don't do that, but I'm just to understanding purpose. So let's say like we are able to schedule an ATM straddle. It also executed properly, right? You can also try that with an AP analyzer mode also. So now once we're done with that, now we are building the actual strategy. We are adding stop loss, per leg stop loss. We are adding. You can also add a combined stop loss also, per leg stop loss. And we are also added what? We also added square of time, and we also added a cancel pending stop loss orders also, if at all any orders are pending, because when you are sending stop loss, we are also sending stop loss limit order. Along with that, if anytime you send any limit orders or stop loss order, you also have to ensure that you're also canceling those orders as well. Sometimes order might get cancelled automatically, sometimes it may not cancel. If it's not cancelling, you have to ensure that you're cancelling those orders, right? So every time you always have a working solution. And finally, you're having a working solution. That is where you have to go live. Finally, you're having a working solution. And that is how we take it live. Then you can trade live, right? Provided it is having a reasonable edge. So this is how we build strategies in OpenAlgo, right? And always you can use the IPython notebook only for testing purpose. Don't use it for production. Production, you have to bring it in a Python file and then you have to run it. Maybe if you're running it in servers, you have to ensure that you are conferring these thing in your server itself. In your server, you have to run it 24/5 or 24/7, you have to run it. Maybe this code here, right? It doesn't work for, it also works on Saturday and Sunday also. Saturday, Sunday also, it will try to place order. So you have to say like, I want to put a filter, right? So you have to say like, you go back here, you give the entire code as your prompt. Say like, this is my current code. I want to run this strategy only from, let's say, Monday to Thursday. Friday, you don't want to engage in the market. So on Monday to Thursday only you want to run. If you say that, it will schedule the strategy only on Monday to Friday, Thursday only. So Monday, so days of the week. So it'll gonna run only from where it is Monday to Thursday. So the scheduler is gonna change. Or you can say like, it's not giving me the full code. I can ask a full code. Can you give a full code? Can you give me the full code? So it's going to give you the full code now. So the whole idea is how to interact with the LLMs, what information I should give. I should try to give the maximum information which is required. You think about like how you say this information to your developer. Let's say a developer is sitting next to you. What information you will give? You will try to give the maximum information because the developer doesn't know anything. Developer don't know what an OpenAlgo is all about. Instead of me telling to the developer, I'm telling it to the ChatGPT. Whatever the information I am going to give it to the developer, the same thing I'm going to give it to the OpenAlgo. I'm going to give the documentation. I'm going to give the this is the context. This is my API key. This is my host. This is where my host ID is running. Right? You give all the context, and the LLMs are going to figure out how to run. Right? So you have to take it up, but one shot. Don't try to ask everything in one shot. It's not going to work out. So you have to go with this phases only. So you have to go in this tone only. So this is how we build a bigger solution end of the day. It's not going to happen. Everything in one shot is going to happen. Everything you try to build, sometimes very rarely it's going to work out. LLMs are improvising, LLMs are getting intelligent. But I would say like you have to start small, getting bigger, make it even more bigger, make it even more bigger, and make it even more bigger. That's a right way to build something which makes sense to you faster, right? So LLMs are not going to give you something profitable end of the day. You are the one who is going to figure out whether it is profitable or not. Any questions? So there is one big question over here. So Balakrishnan is asking, this is my contest first strategy, 5-minute time frame, symbol is Nifty future, first 5-minute candle is green, for strike price with theta is less than. Okay, so let's take some realistic question from Balakrishnan. So his question is like, I'm not going to build a strategy, but I'm going to tell you how to build a strategy, right? Particularly using large language models. So here is his strategy. So let me break this down. It's a very lengthier one. Oops. Okay, so this is Balakrishnan's strategy. So think about that. If I'm going to give this right straight away, it's going to give me confident answer. But will it work? If you ask me, absolutely 100% it's not going to work out. If I'm going to build the strategy here, I'm just simply pasting this, right? I'm going to paste it, and then definitely it's going to go through the documentation. It's going to build something on its own. But the thing is, like a lot of things, it's not going to aware about it. It knows what is the symbol, what is the expiry. It's going to give. See that it's taking some random symbol. It's taking an expired symbol first of all, because I haven't given the expiry date. So you have to tell clearly what expiry date you want to get. And again, theta we had given over here, but theta, it doesn't know the theta because I don't have any theta API. I don't have any option Greeks API as of now in OpenAlgo. So if at all OpenAlgo, if I want to get the option Greeks, first I have to calculate the option Greeks manually, right? So anyways, we are having plans to build option chain also, option Greeks also, but that will be like another 2 months down the lane. But right now, if you want to build the Greeks, you have to figure out the option Greeks. You have to know how to get the option Greeks. So now, sometime back, what I had done, I had built option Greeks, Python, OpenAlgo. You're gonna type, you're gonna get some option Greeks. So this is an example. So I can tell like, hey, this is how you have to get the option Greeks. So I'm gonna use this as a prompt. I'm gonna say like, for option Greeks, you can use this method. I'm gonna say like, for option Greeks, use this sample working example. Remember, I'm not building the complete strategy because it will take some time, but I'm going to give you a context how to build. So now it understands how to get the option, probably how to get the option Greeks using maybe, and it's going to use. Now it knows better way of getting the option Greeks. It knows how to calculate theta now because I had done that sometime back. I have to build this option Greeks using maybe an again the same code. It's very simple code only, but it knows this is a working solution. I'm ensuring that it's a working solution. So you are the one who have to go and test this code whether it's working or not. So now it knows this is a working solution. Because you said that it is a working solution, it's going to believe you, right? So you are the one who have to tell ChatGPT, the custom GPT, OpenAlgo custom GPT, hey, this is a working solution. Once you say that it's a working solution, then it's going to trust you, and then from there it's going to start working on that, right? It's not going to find any mistakes, whatever you're going to say. So when you are saying whatever you are going to say to LLM, you have to validate that it is true, and then you have to send it to Chat GPT. That's what we always say, like it's a human in the loop, right? So in machine learning, a human in the loop means human and machines will be playing a role. Whatever the human is gonna, from his expertise, they're gonna give the inputs to the machine, and the machine is gonna train or gonna learn from that, and then it's gonna give the better results. That's what it's called as HITL. You can also say like what is HITL in machine learning. It's human in the loop, right? So machine does most of the work, but the humans are involved as a key points to guide, correct, and improve the outcomes. Same thing, LLM also nothing but a machine learning application only, right? So HITL is always very much important when you're giving prompts. So whenever any prompt that you're giving, you have to validate that what are the information I'm giving is true. So you enhance it, or you improvise it, or you add more to it. So that is how you can build strategies, right? So Senthil Nathan is saying like, thanks for this useful session. In production, how to make sure that it is running properly without going through some runtime errors. Yeah, that's very difficult to say in one word. But I would say like if you're running in production, right, you have to ensure that, let's say you're running it in your own servers. I'll go back to the server, same server here. I'll copy this. I'll go to the terminal. I'm going to log into the terminal. Let's say I'll go to cd space, sorry, not cd, but ssh root @ I'm going to paste the value. I'm going to paste the server and I'm going to enter the password. So I got into the server, which is our, I think our Zerodha server, right? Yeah, no, it is our Angel one. It's like 1 GB RAM and 4 GB space, which we created. So now, if you want to run it in your, let's say you want to run your strategy 24/7, right? Let's say first thing what you have to do is like you have to find, you have to go to your, probably this is a space under cd /var/python. This is a space I would have installed OpenAlgo. So OpenAlgo is installed over here. Maybe if it is you're running in with your custom domain, your path could be different. So you have to know which path it is installing, right? Once I get into the path, let's say I'll go to the folder. So under strategy is what I'm going to create, and so under OpenAlgo, we'll be having a strategies folder, right? Inside my strategy folder, let's say I'm going to create this nano uh, intraday straddle, right? Intraday straddle.py. Obviously, I have to go and get the code. This is my code. I'm going to paste it. I'll ensure that I'm getting the right host and then right API key. So let's say here I'm going to run it in my domain name, right? This is my domain name. That's going to be my host. This is going to be my host. My API key is going to be, I have to get it from my OpenAlgo itself or my servers one. So let's go to my server. Here's my server. I log in. I get the API key, copy it, and then I'm going to paste it over here. Now this Python code, I have to run it 24/7. So how I can run it 24/7? I have to run it 24/7 only by going into there's something called systemd. There are a lot of ways you can run this code 24/7. One thing is like you can ask help from ChatGPT itself. You can say like you have to give the context only. So the context is I'll go to chat. This is not OpenAlgo GPT. You can go to custom, regular GPT also, custom GPT also, doesn't matter. So here you can say like, this is my strategy. I want to run this 24/7, right? So 24/7, I want to run this. Now it's going to suggest you various ways. It's going to suggest you. Like you can use NoHub. NoHub will be like, you go and run this NoHub. It's going to run you 24/7. Now the strategy keeps running in the background. I would not prefer this, but this is the easiest way you can run this strategy 24/7. Even if you're going to exit the server also, let's say I'm going to exit the server. I'm getting back to my local prompt over here. Still the server is going to run the intraday strategy 24/7. Very simple, right? This is one way, but what I prefer to use is I prefer to use something called systemd. Systemd or supervisor CTL. There are various things are there. Even if your strategy is going to crash, it will be restarting it. All those provisions are there. So here, if your strategy is going to crash, it is not going to restart on its own. But if you're going to use systemd kind of service, right? So let's say like, can you provide a systemd? Systemd, here you have to give more prompt. You have to say like, inside my OpenAlgo folder, I am using UV method. The UV installer is what I'm using. And then you also have to say like more context you have to give basically. I'm having a OpenAlgo slash dot VNV slash is my path for virtual environment, and I'm using Ubuntu server. I'm using Ubuntu server. Then it's going to give you the complete configuration how you have to set up your thing in production. So you have to install, you have to go to the system D, you have to create a service, you have to ensure that you're putting this, and then you ensure that you run the Python script, and you have to ensure that you are starting the service. So these are the three commands you have to fire it up so that your intraday starter is going to run 24/7, right? So maybe we don't have time, otherwise I would have showed you end to end. But this is how you have to run your strategy. Anyways, OpenAlgo is going to run 24/7. So if your strategy also have to run 24/7, you have to the easiest way is to run it in system D. Maybe there are a lot of other tons of ways to run 24/7. ChatGPT is the best way to explain what are the other methods. So you can also ask like what are the other methods? Other methods that I can run my strategy 24/7 in Ubuntu server. More context you're going to give, it's going to help you faster to implement things. So one is no hop method, and another one is like screen and tmux. Again, this will not restart the things, right? If you want to do something restarting method, you have to use systemd or cron job or reboot. Cron job I prefer not to do that, but supervisor, I had done with supervisor a lot many times, so supervisor scripts gonna work. um, so supervisor CTL, so you can say like there's something called how about supervisor. Sometime back around 2015, 16, 17, I used a supervisor to run I used to get the data directly from NS Exchange. I get into my server, so I use the supervisor CTL a lot. I don't know now, but maybe now also supervisor could be better. Supervisor is like our task monitor. It's going to monitor the task. If at all the service is going to go down, it's going to restart it. So you can ask like, what are the benefits of using system D and supervisor compared to other methods. You just simply talk to the LLM. LLMs are the one which is going to give you the right answers. So it's going to give you a complete comparison, what to use. So you can see like probably it's going to give you a complete idea about what is what, right? So auto restart on crash. If your application is going to crash, no hub screen cron job is not going to restart your application. But system D and supervisor is going to restart your application. So which means this is very much required. You have to either go with system D or supervisor. No hop is like maybe some simple things which is not sensitive to you. Something like strategy is something sensitive, right? If the strategy stop working and you are going to be in a thinking that your strategy is going to work, which is not something really good. So in that case, you have to consider using either system D or supervisor. I had used both the methods. Both the methods are trustable, right? Can we save option chain data using OpenAlgo? If yes, what is the best DB? I use ClickHouse server. See, option chain, yes, ClickHouse is fine, but maybe I think QuestDB also something we've been experimenting off late. QuestDB also is really good enough, I would say, right? ClickHouse, maybe you'll be saving a lot of space. QuestDB also, it's a time series database. Off late, we've been doing a lot of tests with QuestDB as well. So far, it is good for real-time data storage. It's really good. Something historical data, maybe I would say like still I would recommend DuckDB or even ClickHouse also, right? But real-time data, something you want to store, definitely I would say like QuestDB. All right, so let me pass here. I'm sure it's very difficult to give the complete idea in one shot, but I'm sure definitely you would have got some basic idea about how you can run OpenAlgo in production, right? And ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Claude. So they are the best jet. They can enhance your outputs, but they are not gonna give you inputs, right? So only your output it gonna enhance you. Your ideas it gonna enhance you, but it is not gonna give you idea on its own. Any idea it's gonna give, you have to ensure that it is right or it is a better one. It can also give you idea. I'm not saying like it cannot give ideas, but any ideas it's gonna give you, don't blindly trust it. That's what my point is, right? All right. So any other questions? Maybe we can take one or two more questions. There are some more questions in the Q&A sections as well.
Sir, can I ask one question? How do we backtest futures and option scenes?
So futures and options there are like there is optar or something like. If it is options, you have to build everything from the scratch in Python, right? There are no ready-made option stuff which is available, I think, but there's something called options backtesting. Some autopsy, yeah, autopsy. This is what you can find it. I haven't tested it yet, but I know there's something called autopsy exists, and there is some. It's growing because people have been building for a couple of years, but last 5 years you can see that there's not much of an update at all. I think last year only README has been updated, which means this autopsy is not people is not contributing anymore. If you would have seen that comparatively, if you would have seen that OpenAlgo, any recent updates, even for like last week, we had done some updates for certain files. Last week, I had to update the design. And then 2 days back, I have to update some routes, I have to update. So if you see that any GitHub is been getting updated, that means community contribution has been there. People are actively contributing. Um, but this is something like it's an option backtesting engine. Maybe people may stop updating because they may got tired, they may got bored, or they may move on to some other projects. They may find it something very interesting, or people may not be funding it at all. Some open source project they live on funding. Luckily, we are not living on any funding, and hopefully for the next 5 years, we are not looking for any funding also, right? And yeah, so some people they may stop doing what they are doing. Sometimes the community will be driving it later on. So initially, the lead maintainer. So here he could be the lead maintainer. After some point in time, they would have moved on. They might move to some other bigger role, so they don't have time to contribute. So there could be tons of reasons why people may not be updating, right?
Sure, sir. How can we run a strategy 24/7 when we have to log in every day to broker APIs through OpenAlgo?
So that's what I showed you, right? So you have to run it in an system D, or you have to
Correct.
run it in.
But in that case, sir, won't that session expire after 24 hours in OpenAlgo? Like
See,
you,
OpenAlgo, you have to log in on a daily basis. So system D is like only a Python file only. The Python file is always going to run, right?
yeah,
It's going to keep on running. The only thing is like you have to put a limitation. Let's say you're having a simple EMA crossover. Let's talk about a simple EMA crossover strategy, right? So how you have to design is like you have to go to OpenAlgo and you say like, write if you are going to say write me a simple, let's say like 10 and 20 EMA crossover. Let's take a simple example, 10 and 20 EMA crossover. This strategy is going to run 24 bar 7. Even after the market is going to end, it's going to fetch you the data, which you don't want to fetch the data, right? Only you want to fetch the data only from 9:15 to 3:30 only. After that, it's practically useless to calculate the indicators again and again and again, right? So
mm,
what you can say is like, I want to place orders only between, let's say like 9:15 to 3:30, and also run this strategy from Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. So when you say this whatever the code that you're gonna get, right? That code will be scheduled only from 9:15 to 3:30. After 3:30, nothing. Your Python code will be still running, but it will not be executing any orders. It will not be calculating any indicators,
got it. Yeah.
right? So that way, your Python code will be running 24 bar 7, but still it will be made to schedule only from 9:15 to 15:30 only. And it is not going to run on Saturdays and Sundays also. maybe if you fear that holidays may gonna happen, then what you can do is like you can say like go to NSE India holidays. Let's say like you'll find an NSE India holiday, right? NSE India holiday. Again, you have to give the context only. So context not can be only from the prompt. You can also give it in the form of screenshot also. Like you can take a screenshot of this and say like ask it to build a dictionary. I mean, you just say like these are my holidays. Don't run on holidays. That's what a context engineering is all about. You give the context. You say like I don't want to run my strategies on holidays. Right? It knows that these are the holidays. What are the things I had given on holidays? So those days it will not allow it on run itself. So now it's going to give you the code. It's going to build the holiday dictionary, right? List or dictionary is going to prepare, and it's going to check whenever it's going to run. It's going to check whether this day is on a holiday or not. If that day is a holiday, it's not going to run it at all. Very simple.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks, sir.
Right? So that way, that is how only we can run it in production. It's end of the day, it's all about common sense. Nothing much. I mean, at least earlier you have to depend upon coders and everyone. But now anybody who is having a basic common sense and basic idea about Python, they can build their strategies easily.
Yeah, I got confused, sir, because I was thinking that OpenAlgo code is running the strategy, but we are passing the strategy and signals to OpenAlgo. That is why these Python files are separate, and the session timeout will not impact here, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
probably this is a better way of running the strategy, right? So maybe
Yeah.
going forward, you can fine tune it, you can modularize it, and you can keep it in different files. Like you can write it as a convert into a function. So that is how we do. Well, first we build a working example, and then we modularize it. Maybe that's the next level of thinking.
Yeah. One last thing, sir. You said backtesting is just not enough. What were the other options for?
Optimization, walk forward testing, Monte Carlo,
Sorry, Monte Carlo walk forward testing and what? Third thing?
optimization.
Optimization. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so in Python, they call it as a grid optimization. Even vector BT and all those things, they do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
For that, definitely a strong knowledge of NumPy and Pandas is very much required.
Okay.
ChatGPT can build, but still, end of the day, we have to validate it. So you should be a NumPy expert. You should be a Pandas expert. You have to tell where it is making a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Sure.
right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Bhavesh is asking, is Vulture better than cloud providers? Okay, anyways, I had answered it. And Bharat by Mevada, he's asking, I need to exit the strategy, both sides for Iron Condor and Iron Condor straddle strangle, upper strike price. See, I showed you the example, right? Like you have to build something smaller. So from the smaller, first you have to learn to build an Iron Condor. From the Iron Condor, you have to build your entry rules and exit rules, and let's say stop loss. So you have to build it slightly bigger, again slightly bigger, slightly bigger, and slightly bigger. That is how the path to go forward. Anyways, we've been teaching those things in our sessions also, like how to build such kind of stuff. We take live examples from the trader itself. We ask them like how to build. So they give the context. So I'll convert that context into codes. How to build that. That's what we do in our sessions primarily. So we use heavily LLM models in our sessions. So could we include order flow and TPO strategies in order flow trading? That's what my ultimate idea is all about. But right now I'm just building the basic, the same method is what I'm building for this. So end of the day, my primary goal is to automate my discretionary strategies. A lot of my discretionary strategies are in market profile and order flow. So I've been keep automating it. Recently also I had automated some of my own studies. I have to automate it. So yeah, so that's going to be a long journey. I don't think that's going to happen in a day or two, because like that is like 10 years of screen reading. So which is like discretionary, which is very difficult to automate earlier, but now we have some light in the tunnel that I have been automating it. So whenever I have some time, I also work on automating my own discretionary stuff as well. Like market profile and order flow, right? It's you cannot automate it because you have to give context. So that is where I believe the AI will be taking care. The AI agents are coming in. So try to learn something about AI agents, how to build, because the future is going to be AI agents. So difference between TradeRun and OpenAlgo. See, TradeRun is like kind of an enterprise level stuff, right? It is designed for traders who want to click, configure, kind of a no code tool. It is. OpenAlgo is not a no code tool. OpenAlgo is for traders who have already their strategies in Python or TradingView or AMI Broker or Excel or maybe even Node.js or Go. Your strategy can be in any programming language. It can be from any trading tools. So what OpenAlgo does is like it gives a connectivity to connect your strategies with OpenAlgo, and you run your own, like your, as if like you can run your own private trade run. Like that's the thing. Uh, right now, I would say like the trade management tool in TradeRun is very comprehensive, but probably we had not even solved 5% of it. But from 5%, we will be going to 10% tomorrow, next week, and from 10%, we'll be reaching 25% in another 3 months down the lane. From 25%, we'll be reaching 100% in another 1 year down the lane, right? So very soon it'll be like your own private trade run. Right now it solves it acts like a simple execution engine. You send the orders gonna execute, and you can use OpenAlgo GPT kind of tools. You can still without coding you can write codes. That's what we've been doing these days, right? And yeah, very soon you'll be seeing the capabilities. Very soon we have a very good uh, what team to build inside OpenAlgo. We have a very good roadmap. We'll be moving towards that, and many roadmaps which you don't see in the roadmap at all, which has been given by our community members. Community members come up with a lot of ideas, and we've been building on top of it, right? So whenever we find some time, we try to find some time to implement what we want to build. I'd say like that's the difference between TradeRun and OpenAlgo. And OpenAlgo is completely transparent, and TradeRun, like, it's a closed business model, so they don't reveal not even a single line of code. In OpenAlgo, every line of code, every design, every how do we build, everything has been explained. Even how to integrate brokers, we kept it everything openly in the public domain itself. How we integrated a Kotak broker, how we integrated Alice Blue. So all those things, not everything we have time to keep it open source, but some of the things we kept it open source. How we build using LLM models, like some of the things that like almost like 11 hours of videos, we kept it openly available. Not in YouTube, but it's there available in our learn.marketcalls.in. It's already available there. All right. So I say thank you for coming by and attending the session. So next week, probably Saturday, there won't be any session. I have to travel to another place. I'm talking about OpenAlgo in Bangalore. But on next Sunday and the upcoming Saturdays, we'll be having a session. So please look into the session details. You'll also get a prompt notification from our team as well, right? So see you on next Sunday, and we'll talk more about OpenAlgo. We'll try to build some more strategies, working solutions and working strategies. I'm sure today you might get a fair idea. Yesterday you have an idea about installation. Today you might have some idea about how to handle servers, right? A lot of things that you have to learn about servers also. But primarily this could be a starting point, I would say. And next 2 more sessions we have, definitely you'll be learning something new out of it. Thank you.